Welcome to another episode of the Compression Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Ali.
And I'm Arima.
And that was my best attempt at copying the Off the Pill podcast's intro. But first of all, we're going to get right into the tech news. We're not going to keep you guys waiting this time. And the first main headline we're going to talk about, this is from 9to5Mac. We'll leave links to hopefully every single article that we mention below in the description. And so first of all, the headline is Samsung to supply iPhone screens that could enable ProMotion and an always-on display. I want immediate thoughts and reactions to just that headline.
My first reaction would just say, I don't care. Well, not I don't care, but I'm not surprised by it. Because, so if you watch people like Jerry Rig Everything, or people who just open up smartphones and repair them, like you can see a lot of Samsung parts in Macs and in the iPhone, so it's not that surprising for them.
Yeah, we already know Samsung supplies pretty much most of Apple's device screens. This one, the only thing that's interesting is that it enables ProMotion and an always-on display. So first I want to knock out, always-on display. If you read on the article, it says, a third supply chain report says that Apple plans to use LTPO screens for this year's iPhone Pro models. So if you remember LTPO, I don't know if you remember, but it was the technology that the Apple Watch used for its always-on display. The first, that was in the Series 5, the first always-on display in an Apple Watch. So I can't remember what LTPO stood for. Anyways, but yeah, always-on display. First of all, do you even use always-on display? Because I think that's a pretty big feature of OnePlus phones.
It isn't actually.
That's...
Oxygen OS didn't... at least Oxygen OS 10 doesn't have support for no always-on display. So you have an ambient display, which is whenever you pick up the phone, you touch it. Then, if it senses motion, then it turns on for a couple minutes.
Oh, right, that's so it's always off, but there's just this little starting screen, which is all black, but then it just gives you the time or something.
Yeah, and the notifications. And that's kind of always on display, but with Oxygen OS 11, which I haven't downloaded the beta yet for, an always on display is there. And actually, there's this whole new one where it's focusing on your screen time and stuff like that.
Okay. I don't use always on displays. I mean, even if I could, I don't think I would. Because I use an iPhone. So this is probably going to come to iPhone 13, hopefully. It says that it's for this year's iPhone Pro. This is obviously not confirmed or anything. This is just they're saying it's going to come to this year's iPhones as if this isn't said by Apple or something. But it's basically the same tech as the Apple Watch. I'm not going to bore you on always on display too much. The more interesting part is the ProMotion. So ProMotion, another technology which we know from the iPad, at least I know, that's the 120 hertz refresh, which is only on the iPad Pros, and is the only feature knocked off, one of the main ones, off of the iPad Pro down to the Air. So, I mean, this could be, I'm really praying that it is the first time we see a ProMotion, a high refresh rate iPhone.
Yeah, I was kind of confused when you said ProMotion, until you said 120 hertz, then I realised it's just another Apple saying or Samsung saying.
Yeah, it's basically just the same as iPad Pros.
Yeah, I think I didn't realise that it wasn't. So did the LG? Do you know if the LG screens just didn't have support for the ProMotion display?
LG's
obviously
V-Series,
the display itself has to be 120 hertz, but
yeah, that's
I'm
a good
pretty
point,
sure LG has a at least 90 hertz refresh rate screen on its phones itself.
On its V-Series.
Yeah, and
on the V60 or something?
Edge as well. So it's a bit
I haven't heard.
it's
LG has they really don't, they fly way under my radar.
oh,
I haven't heard
sorry,
of
I
their
was
phones
thinking of
recently in a
Motorola there,
while.
but yeah, on LG screens.
Oh yeah, Motorola Edge Plus.
Yeah, but on LG
Okay,
screens there are 90 hertz as well. So it's a bit
all
weird
right.
that Apple didn't go for 90 hertz this year, but we've already gone through that. So I think they should because a lot of people, including us, criticise them for it. And if they don't, then I mean, it doesn't exactly follow up on their trend anyway. They which is kind of just. I'm not saying all of the like every feature does this, but for Apple, a lot of the display tech and processing tech, they say no one's ever done this before, even though the screen is supplied from someone else.
Yeah,
So I think they will come out with 120 hertz, the best screen you've ever seen.
and also I
Next
read
year.
on a bit on the article, the LTPO, it stands for low temperature polycrystalline oxide, which it's basically, it just means that it allows for variable refresh rate. So this is again on the always on display. Not that interesting, but it's just basically when the always on display is on, it's apparently only refreshing at 1 hertz, so one time every second, rather than the typical 60 that you see when you're just in the main menus or something. But another question I had, so ProMotion for the iPad Pro has always been 120 hertz. Is there a chance that we get like a 90 hertz ProMotion on, like, so that we get at least some sort of like high refresh rate on the regular iPhones, not Pro?
I think if
So likely
Apple,
iPhone 13 and 13 mini or whatever they call it.
my theory with the 13 is that the biggest marketing will be the screen. Like they focus on it a lot, just like they did with the 5G. Um, and I even tweeted out more 5G like 1,000 times during their presentation. Like it kind of makes sense for them to finally go into this futuristic 120 hertz, and just dive into the deep end and put it out. And if it were to, I don't think it would vary between the 13 mini, and 13 Pros as well, just because Apple doesn't seem to vary between their phones, and I think that's what made the iPhone 12 seem like a steal to any iPhone user, because like you get most of the Pro features just for less.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll agree, but it's just Apple's lack of like high end hardware in their flagships has kind of getting annoying. The fact that they can what do you call it? They can get away with not having like high refresh rate and like a huge battery or like 12 gigs of RAM in their biggest $1,100 phone. That kind of bugs me.
I think um, I do disagree with you because they can get away with the RAM and um,
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
RAM.
get that. I know that they can get away with it, but it just annoys me that they can get away with it. Like, they can charge similar money to something like a high end Android phone or a high end Android flagship, but yet deliver like a really similar experience. That just means that, I guess it means that Apple's just not putting, is just making bigger profit margins, I guess. Not putting the most high end specs, but still delivering a decently smooth experience.
Yeah, to be honest, I just don't think they need to. It does annoy me as well, but like with the RAM software optimization, with the battery again, it's software optimization. So even though we're getting like 2,000 milliamp hour batteries and 3,000 milliamp hour batteries, we're still getting like on par battery, except for with the iPhone SE with Android flagships, and it's also iPhone users will continue to come back, especially for that software. So that gives the iPhone so much value, just that software. It is a bit crazy, but I guess it is what it is.
It also, I guess, with software, they do work really hard on software. They pay a lot of attention to it, but I just really could. I hope to see one day like the same software optimization, but just insane specs in an iPhone, like 120 hertz, the like a six that we'll go a little less extreme, like a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and just more high end specs, like 12 gigs of RAM, which would just make it absolutely fly through iOS. I think that
Can I
would be
just
cool.
I just want to add on to that. The software, you said they're putting a lot of effort into it. To be honest, like I would have said the same a couple years ago, but now it like the features they've put in, it just doesn't match Android still, and it's not as if those features were hard to put in, like an app drawer. It's been
Oh yeah, it's still super
and
strict. It's still super strict
no,
iOS
but
customization.
like it's so minimal the steps they're taking. So even though the software is good, like they're not keeping up the value because it's the same throughout their phones, throughout their from like iOS 12 to iOS 13, you see no difference. From iOS 13 to iOS 14, you get an app drawer and widgets. And that's
Yeah,
not.
we went way off topic there. We were talking about promotion, so there's not that much to say about it. It's just we really want to see. We want. I think we should have seen it in the iPhone 12s. It was a huge letdown that there wasn't. But hopefully, iPhone 13, Apple, please, you got this. iPhone 13 promotion, please. But we'll move on to the next topic, and that is, it's pretty recent news, at least when we're recording this. So that is the other headline on BBC News is Elon Musk becomes world's richest person as wealth tops $185 billion.
Yeah,
So that's beating Jeff Bezos. Like beating as if there's like a competition. It's not a competition, but he just like he's the world's richest man now. And then that just kind of got me thinking, how is Tesla so huge? I know it's like a really simple question, like, and some kind of stupid you might say, but Tesla is just there. I get like they have the whole unique thing with like the electric cars and the whole supercharger network, making them one of the most convenient electric cars to buy today. But how is Tesla soaring above all the other car manufacturers, like which have been in the game for way longer? Like, I don't know, like Porsche or BMW.
I think it's the same with Apple. Tesla's kind of the Apple of car companies now. Um, Firstly, it was their electric cars. They were the best in the game. Just because there weren't many electric cars. But now in 2021, I think there are a lot better electric cars in 2019 at least. So, so I think it's kind of the hype around Tesla still. Because did you see Linus Tech Tips? I'm not sure which channel it was, but they reviewed
Model
the
Y.
Tesla Model.
Model Y.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that.
So I think he spoke a bit about it then, and it's also just like Tesla has infrastructure around the world now, or at least in the UK and in the US. It's and in Canada, it's enough to keep buyers buying, and consumers who who look at which car to get, they always think Tesla because Tesla is what people are talking about. So I think it's just an Apple situation again.
Yeah, it's like on Wednesday, it's Saturday right now. On Wednesday, Tesla hit 516 billion pounds. So that's like 700 billion dollars in market value, which is just insane for just another car company. I know it's not just another car company, like they have their whole special thing. Obviously, they're an electric car company, one of the leaders in the whole electric car space. And it's just, I just love how like connected to the media Elon is. Like the Twitter account, Tesla owners of Silicon Valley, they tweeted, "At Elon Musk is now the richest person in the world at $190 billion." And then Elon replies, "How strange. Well, back to work." I don't know, I just love how, like, just people that you expect to be so strict and not have a life, just to be that friendly and connected to the media, I guess. But it's not just Tesla, it's also SpaceX. SpaceX is also huge. I don't know its exact market value, but they're doing absolute bits. I've seen Elon tweet so much about it.
Can I ask,
yeah.
this 190 billion, is that what you said?
Yeah.
So does that count? So does that count like the stock he owns in the company?
No, no, because Tesla's worth like $700 billion. That's just his net worth.
All right, yeah. So
No, I don't. Yeah, I get your question. Yeah.
With so I saw something on Twitter when this was happening, about Elon Musk becoming the richest person. So this is net worth, and if we look at like the stocks that Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos own, they are a lot more. They own a lot more than Elon. So if they were to liquidate all of those assets right now, Bill Gates owns quite a lot in Apple, quite a lot in Microsoft. He would probably be Elon if he were to liquidate his assets now, and the same with Jeff Bezos.
If you're like saying including the market value of the company.
No, just...
So you're saying, like, because Microsoft is a bigger company than Tesla. Is it, though?
No, I'm talking about, so stocks, obviously he doesn't own the whole company. He is the founder, but he probably has, like, I'm not sure how many shares he has in the company, but it's a percentage of the company he owns. And if he sells off that percentage to someone else, then he gets a certain amount of money.
Okay. No, I think it's just... I don't think it's including that. Because also I searched up Jeff Bezos' net worth. He's just over like $100 billion, which isn't that much when you compare it to Elon. Seeing it, like, when you take into account that people are making headlines that Elon just passed Bezos.
So wasn't Jeff Bezos worth more when his wife divorced him, though? Before his wife divorced him. Because she had to take half of his assets. I think we've got a bit off topic.
Yeah, a little bit. But that's completely fine, right? Anyways, is there anything else that we want to talk about? Yeah, it's not that huge news. He was... Oh, and another thing I want to talk about. You know Fangman? You know how, like, the biggest stock... Like, the companies with the biggest stock are, like, put into that acronym Fangman. So, like, Fangman stands for... F is... What is F? Facebook. F is Facebook. A is Amazon. N is Netflix. G is Google. M is Microsoft. A is Apple. And then the last N is Nvidia. I don't know if they're going to, like, add in a T for Tesla, if that's going to change. I don't know how, like, the Tesla ranks.
If it's the top 10, then they'll have to replace the letter.
I guess so. Are they just going to change the whole acronym? Because, like...
Probably.
Tesla's I'm sure Tesla's well past a company like Nvidia right by now. They're just too lazy to change the acronym. Anyways, for now, that's been some pretty long tech talk. We'll take a break for now, and we'll talk more about future phones of 2021, namely Samsung Galaxy S21 and OnePlus 9 Pro. Welcome back. So we're going to get into probably one of the funnest parts of this episode, and that is we're going to get into some renders, some official leaks of the Samsung's new flagships for the new year. One of the first companies to put out flagships. And that's Galaxy S21. We're going to talk Galaxy S21 Plus, and if they're still going, Galaxy S21 Ultra. So, I want to ask you, first of all, what do you think of the new renders, the design leaks, the new camera bump, the whole design language thing?
Uh, I'm not sure how I feel about it, to be honest. I mean, it's not.
Wait, let's just make sure we're
It's
on
a
the same track. So we're talking about the same. We'll just describe it first of all. So it's the camera bump, which is like kind of,
it's
yeah,
like
it's kind of
sharp.
connected to the corner this time. So you know how
Yep.
I've heard some people phrase it is like, and it actually does come to mind. It's the original Galaxy Fold. You know the notch inside, how it was in the corner. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
that, but
yeah.
portrait. And then, yeah, I
Uh-huh.
get. Hopefully, you get what we mean. But yeah, what do you think of it?
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I don't know how I feel about it because, I mean, we can't really tell how big it actually is until it's in our hands. And that's one of the main problems because if it's as big as the Note 20 Ultras, then we're gonna have some problems because um to hold a phone, I'm just picking up my phone here now. To hold a phone, you'd have to avoid that camera bump entirely, or it would be a bit problematic for you. And if you're left-handed, then your finger's gonna be in a bit of a weird place there. So I'm not sure how I like it.
I think it looks. I'll say my take. I think this new design is gonna be really. It's gonna depend a lot on what color of the phone you get. Cause I've seen, the most famous render. Have you seen the one which is like, the camera bump is like this light gold, and then the rest of it kind of looks like this pastelly light purple. Have you seen that
No,
one?
I haven't. I saw a So I saw the render. You probably haven't seen it, but I saw it on Twitter. So it was basically cyan color.
Okay. Um, maybe it was cyan. I can't remember. But like the camera bump was like a gold. I didn't like that one. That was the one I would. If that's a real color, I doubt it is though, because it just doesn't.
Seemed like
I
Samsung.
don't think it looks great. Yeah, it doesn't seem that Samsung. They would. It kind of seems like Samsung's kind of. I'd like to think Samsung's a bit classier than that. But anyways, maybe they just do the same thing and the camera bump is the same color as like it's just black all the time, no matter what color you choose. Or they make it like the Note 20 and the Note 20 Ultra and make it dependent on what color you choose. I think that could be pretty cool. So the version that I like is either the whole phone is white, or like you have like a silver camera bump and then a white phone, or like a dark jet black camera bump and then like a matte black back. That's the one I think looks really good. I personally like the design in that sense, not the other colors.
Yeah, I think the Note 20 is kind of the way to go. Um, with it, as in you have the same color on the camera bump and then the same color on the back, but then like the
Yeah,
rim
Note
is
20.
shiny.
It might have been a bad phone, but it was a good looking one.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I meant the whole Note 20 Ultra.
Yeah, but also I think Note 20 looked pretty good as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were both pretty good looking phones. Hopefully Samsung's moving to that general design language as well this year. I'm really looking forward to that. But there's not just the design. We have price leaks, which seem really similar to last year. So, obviously not confirmed, but if you want, these are all base model. So, if you want 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage for the regular and the plus, you got to pay for regular, it's €849 and $904. And then for the plus, I'll just say dollars. So 904 for the regular, 1,095 for the plus, and then 1,399 for the ultra. Same as last year. I mean, these are really similar to last year's prices.
So they €849 is £765, but didn't the
Yeah, Samsung's like one of the only companies that actually converts their prices depending on your region. Because Apple, if you go to like the US, you have to pay £1,000 for, let's say, iPhone 10, which they don't sell anymore. But let's go back in time. iPhone 10, $1,000 in America, and £1,000 in the UK. I don't know if it was like €1,000 in other parts of Europe, but that was just weird. Maybe it's like just the tax, but does it like the VAT or something? But does that actually line up? Is it just a coincidence that they both hit the 1,000 mark?
I don't think so. Nah, I'm pretty sure it's Apple, so I'm sure.
Maybe Apple just rounds it up.
Yeah, just for
Yeah, maybe there is a little bit of VAT, but then Apple just rounds it up to 1,000.
So the S20 was
Um,
actually 999 with 12 gigs of RAM.
okay,
Um,
that's pounds or
I'm just
dollars.
right. That was dollars.
Okay,
It's a bit annoying.
that's
I can't find a UK price.
yeah, but the S21 is just 904. These are all again. These aren't confirmed. Let's just if we're going off these prices, do we think they're well priced? Do we think they're overpriced? I think the regulars are okay. It's just the ultras. Again, you're looking a little bit risky for like a 2021 ultra phone.
Yeah, I think the Ultra really has to do so well, and a lot better than the last S20 Ultra, because even though like that phone was good, the cameras had issues. You know, they have to produce a phone that doesn't just have good specs but good software and optimization to go with that. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense to buy such a good phone. Such a
Hot take.
big. Sorry.
Hot take, hot take, hot take. I think I'm not saying this as if I'm the first person saying this. I don't think Samsung needs to sell many Galaxy S21 Ultras, just like they didn't need to sell many Galaxy S20 Ultras. I think this is purely a showcase. I think we've said it before. This is maybe
Yeah.
just Samsung's strategy of showcasing what their best is. So like their highest megapixel cameras, or just their throwing their best hardware at you and seeing if they can maybe throw a few of those features, if they work, into the next like base model flagships. That sounds weird to say, but that's the world we're living in. Base model flagships, like non-ultra flagship.
I think a lot of people probably still will buy it. I mean, I know someone who bought the S20 Ultra and wasn't even that much of a tech person themselves, but it's not. I think yeah, you're right. They don't need to sell much. It's more about the S20 and S20 Plus. If the value's in those and people buy those, then that's what their whole business, what they're going to make their money on. The S20 Ultra is more just to battle it out against the iPhone 12 Pros. But yeah, I think it probably, even if it was like £100 over priced, the prices go down in a snap. It's insane with Samsung. The depreciation
Yeah,
rates is insane.
yeah. You can get like a Note 20 Ultra right now for like £1,000. That's pretty great. But also, I want to go back to what you said earlier. You said like a non-techie friend of yours bought a Galaxy S20 Ultra. That's kind of interesting to me because it kind of seems like this doesn't have that much to do with the S21. It's just Samsung in general. It kind of seems like Samsung is going back to their ways of being like the default Android phone. Like if you want a phone, people just get the iPhone, I guess. But then because it's so safe, they started the whole smartphone thing. But then if you want to go Android, you go Samsung because it's like you, I don't know if you've noticed, but so many people ask you, like, just out and about, I just hear people asking, do you own an iPhone or a Samsung? Not do you own an iPhone or an Android? It's, I just found that kind of
Yeah, I
interesting.
think one of the things is that you see Samsung everywhere. I went to Paris and they had huge billboards, like covering a whole building just for the Fold and the I think it was the Fold and the Note they were showcasing, or the Galaxy Buds or something like that. But also it's that they have so for people choosing a phone, the most like lucrative and the most and the market with the most consumers is the lower end, it's the budget, it's the mid range. And Samsung have the A series, they had the J series, they have the M series, they have
Yeah, they cover so many price ranges.
yeah, and they release so many phones at the same time. So if you search up for budget phones, or just go on,
It's all of Samsung's A
yeah.
series.
So we were looking for a phone for my dad. He bought the Pixel 4a, but like every Samsung M51 was coming up, M21, the A20 was coming up, the A20e I think it was.
Yeah, I guess it's just those are just phones like Pixel 4a or like OnePlus Nord. Those are more, I guess you could say they're just more like enthusiast phones, even though not really. It's not like they have bleeding edge things that like only hardcore phone nerds would get. It's just Samsung is for some reason, maybe they're one of the pioneers, like other than Apple, maybe they're just really huge and maybe it's just because they're reliable.
I think it's
So many people
because
haven't heard of Google phones or
yeah.
OnePlus as a company.
Yeah, so Samsung's been around since the beginning, so it kind of makes sense that people, especially older people, would go for Samsungs because Samsung and Apple are the two companies that um, probably had the largest market presence a couple years back, and it's only now are we seeing Xiaomi, the Chinese phones, and the Pixel phones as well, that are starting to come out and actually be good as well, because budget phones 2 years ago definitely were not where they are today.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of sad in a way that Samsung phones are just not that, like Samsung's are one of the main Android phones. They kind of represent the Android space, as in it's like either the iPhone, or if you want to be a bad guy or a rebel or something, you just go Samsung. But after getting sidetracked again, we'll move on to a couple more leaks or rumors or stuff about the new Samsung phones. Rumor has it, it's not 100% sure yet, because first of all, can I just say, rumors rely really heavily on the case manufacturers. Like, that's the reason why we see all these leaks. The design leaks are the ones that we see first. Like, the camera bump, those are the ones that we see first. We don't see, like, whether the phone has a hole punch or not. That's not the first thing we see. It's because somehow, somewhere in the production queue, when they're making cases, someone goes out, someone, like, diverges, and then just leaks the phone into oblivion. That's a lot of where leaks
Yeah, I
come
think
from.
it's really easy because they throw away so many parts. If you've seen, again, Linus Tech Tips, really old, I think it's when they were producing the OnePlus 6T. If you see his tour around the OnePlus factory, there are so many workers, they throw away so many parts. And I'm sure it's going to be the same for the cases and the factory that they're made in. It's really easy to get your phone leaked, and I think Apple is one of the good ones when it comes to leaks.
Yeah. Because they hold
Um,
off case manufacturers until like the last week or something.
and they what they do, or at least like a couple years ago, what they did was they manufactured different parts, even though they weren't the right ones, for the actual phone. They were just so that leaks would get spread all over the place, so that like no one actually really knew what the phone was going to be. But I doubt they do that now.
Yeah, and also speaking of Apple quickly, that's why it's all coming together now. It's like a puzzle. Everything's piecing together nicely. That's why Apple's phones for the iPhone 12 iPhone 12, because we didn't have anything for iPhone 11. We had no idea what it would look like. But after iPhone 11 came, after iPhone 11, everyone just said, okay, iPhone 12 is just going to be the same as iPhone 11's camera bump, just more cameras in the same square. That's what people were rumoring because that's all they could rumor. Apple doesn't let you see the case. Apple doesn't let case manufacturers just go making cases like several months before production or like the launch event. They hold off. They like wait until like the last week or as close as possible to the launch date as possible, so that's why the camera bump looked just like the one from the last year. There was pretty much no difference, just more cameras.
Yeah, I think it's kind of easy because I think it's kind of easy to hold off manufacturing and designing the cases until afterwards because they don't exactly innovate much when it comes to the design. You had the X and the XS and the 11, and then finally the 12 added these a more rectangular shape. So it wasn't exactly hard for them to manufacture a case that they'd probably manufactured 3 or 4 times already.
Yeah, also another reason why your phone might get leaked is just an idiot at your company just decided that they wanted to get fired and become a world-renowned leaker on Twitter or something. That could be a career path if you wanted. If you're wanting to get fired from the biggest company in the world. Leaks are fun.
Yeah, I think it's quite easy. It's also quite not quite easy, but OnePlus handles it quite well. They're leaking because they just leak it themselves.
Yeah, slowly.
They know their phones are going to get leaked, so it actually creates that.
I get what you mean. It's like they slowly tease out the specs. It's kind of in a way really elegant. Like instead of just like the typical smartphone company way of just being like letting people just being completely quiet and letting people leak their phones into oblivion. OnePlus does it themselves as if they're the ones, like as if they do it intentionally, as if they're like really sly or something. I think it's pretty well. It's pretty well done. But now we'll move on because we've got sidetracked again onto a couple other Samsung phones that we want to see. So like we talked about the regular S21s and all that, but those are the beginning of the year. But the more interesting ones, I want to really get deep into a conversation here. And that's the Foldy boys. That's the Galaxy Z Fold 3. That's Galaxy Z Flip 2. That could be a pretty interesting conversation. First of all, I want you to answer the question, are there going to be third and second generations? Are there going to be a next generation of both of these phones?
I think most definitely. They've received the most praise out of every other folding phone, and for good reason. They are the best of that form factor we've seen so far, and Samsung loves to refine their products, so I'm sure they have enough money for it anyway. I'm sure they'll continue. And with the Z Flip, I did see so many rumours, well, not rumours, but renders of the phone, and it looks quite good.
I haven't actually seen any renders
of
Z Flip. Oh.
So basically, what I saw was that there was the whole viewfinder was, it was kind of like the Razr, the back.
Yeah.
When you flip it down, then the viewfinder that was there before, it's now the whole back side of it.
Yeah, I did briefly see that. It looks actually really well done for like not actually official thing. It looks better than the Razr. The Razr looks like it was a really separate screen. Like the screen was really separate from the rest of the back.
Yeah, it looked like a 2018 attempt.
Yeah, this one looks like, yeah, I guess so. It's just this next gen stuff. But it kind of looked like the Z Flip when it did. Well, this, again, not official, but the rumor that we saw, we'll link the post to that in the show notes. But it looks like it really blended well with the back of the phone. Like with the Mystic Bronze, somehow. Could have been completely fake and maybe even impossible to actually pull that off. but it looked really well how it just worked so well and just blended in with the back of the phone.
But what about the Z Fold 3? Have you seen any rumors for that?
Um, no, I actually haven't. I did, but I mean, I asked you as if there have been any rumors. I don't think there have been any rumors about Galaxy Z Fold 3. I think it's the more interesting conversation is the Galaxy Z Fold 2 because Z Flip 2, which we literally just talked about, that maybe we moved on too quickly. But basically, the fact that that phone just did so surprisingly really well as a first gen concept that
Yeah,
it
it
was
did.
one of the best first gen folding phones. But I guess Samsung kind of cheated though, because like they had already made a folding phone. They already knew how to bend displays.
Yeah, I don't think it would be cheating though, because they still do have to create a whole concept, the whole use case scenario as well. Because you can't just create a phone out of thin air just because you have one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
But I guess with the Z Flip internals, what do you want to see? Would you rather it be thinner, or would you rather better internals? Because I think it wasn't a flagship, was it? It had kind of mid-range internal.
Oh,
Oh,
it was. It was. No. It was a flagship. It had like Snapdragon 855, I think plus. Not sure. It had great cameras. It had a high resolution, big, great Samsung display.
oh.
It was pretty great. I'm looking for
The
flagship
one
stuff
thing I'm
again.
looking forward to is if they heavily market the glass again, because I don't know if you watched Jerry Rig Everything, but basically when he wanted to see if the Z Flip actually had glass, and it turns out the screen there were two layers. One was a really thin layer of glass underneath a plastic layer.
Oh yeah, we saw
Yeah,
that.
so without the plastic layer, the screen didn't work. For information, so so I wonder if they'll heavily market that again, or they'll go a different route with the whole back glass being a viewfinder.
Yeah, Samsung was pretty big on the whole what was it? Like the whole ultra thin glass or something?
Yeah,
UTG, something like that. Can't remember. But it was they marketed that pretty heavily. Um but there's not that much to talk about the foldables. I'm just looking for high-end specs. Basically just copy everything, just take the design language from your regular phone Samsung and put it into the foldables, which they're probably already going to do. But I want to actually turn back the clocks because we moved on too quickly again. I want to go back to S21 because there was another thing that we forgot to talk about, and that is the bezel situation. Because Samsung, we've already seen several times, pretty much every year, they're the ones who absolutely pioneer the whole screen to body ratio thing, and they were one of the first to put the hole punch. They were one of the first to have thin, symmetrical top and bottom bezels in like the S8 and the S9. I want to see, are we going to get, first of all, are we going to get the, one of the main features of 2021, hopefully, the underscreen selfie cameras. So like in the ZT Axon M, not M, the
Axon 20.
Axon 20. Why did I say M? Anyways, the Axon 20, are we going to see that in the new Samsung phones? Is it too early? Or if not, how are we going to see that take place?
I think with Samsung, their design language is the same throughout their S phones, except for it just kind of gets larger each with each iteration.
Oh, right, please,
Um,
no, don't do that again, Samsung.
so I think what they're gonna do is I'm kind of torn because it is a bit early, but it is Samsung. I think they probably even maybe not before ZTE and before the leaks, but after that they probably just got straight to work with it. And I think they they probably do have an under display camera coming,
Oh, definitely.
and I think it probably will be in the
It's
S21
probably still it's
because
already in the factories, I'm betting. Samsung's just the first to everything.
yeah.
Even like the phones in, even like they're the first ones to one of the first ones to put out phones in the new year.
And I think they're the first to make improvements, but they do copy. I mean, they do copy a lot of Apple when it comes to removing stuff that might actually be useful.
Oh
I'm
right.
still a bit salty.
We'll talk about removing stuff later, but for now, let's stick to the display stuff.
Yeah, so I think they probably will have, at least in their S21 Ultra, have a on-display selfie camera, but that also means that they'll most likely have the S21 have an on-display selfie camera as well.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see, but then again, the tech has its drawbacks. If you've
Yeah,
seen
it's
any
not exactly.
videos of the actual just like the camera at work, it's not completely hidden. It's not actually completely, it's a little bit visible. It's like the area that the lens takes up is more pixelated than all the other parts, and a tiny bit darker. I saw it in a Dave
But I
2D
think
video.
with Samsung, they're so much better with screens than ZTE, most likely. I mean, if Apple chooses them, then they're most likely the best. So yeah, I think they'll probably find
I guess.
a workaround. But if they don't, then yeah, we'll probably see a normal hole punch again, which will be saddening. But I guess they'll probably have their reasons.
Yeah, I don't want to see another hole punch again. I get like it's probably the best
Yeah,
we
that's
can
the
do
best design
without
by
doing
far.
anything weird. Yeah, it's without doing anything weird like having a
Yeah.
pop up, or which I still love, by the way. I would love to see a pop up camera, but like if
Oh,
we
OnePlus 9 Pro. Let's hope.
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Um, but yeah, Samsung just you got this. Don't make the phone bigger. That's all we want. Just don't make it any bigger, especially that Ultra. 6.9 inches. We don't need a 7-inch phone. I promise you. But we can move on, because you already mentioned it. It's OnePlus 9 Pro, probably the next phone that we're gonna see in 2021. What are we looking at for the design, the specs, and everything? Probably gonna be super similar to Samsung's, actually. I don't know if you've seen any design leaks so far. If you have any thoughts.
I think with the design, um it's it's kind of like the iPhone 11. Not It's got obviously top left camera bump. It's got
It
one.
actually looks more like a Samsung phone to me, like
Does
a
it?
S20 Ultra.
I guess like
Yeah,
the
like the
camera bump is the
rectangular.
same size, but I was just thinking because it has like, is it two or three cameras? One really big camera and then one regular size camera underneath it. That kind of made me think of the iPhone 11/12.
Okay. Yes, like Apple's got the cameras, so like the lenses are, it's like a double protrusion, like it's a layer of glass over the glass of the phone, and then the lens is on top. This one seems like it's, I hope we're looking at the same thing, but this one looks like it's similar to the Galaxy S20s, like when it's flush, or even Note 20s. It looks like a Samsung phone to me. I don't know why. Or maybe even it looks a lot like a Huawei phone. Like, what is it? The
Yeah, I
Huawei
can see that. Yeah,
P40, the one with like the silvery shimmery back.
yeah, yeah.
It's a unique phone. It's not it doesn't have much OnePlus design language, which I'm kind of upset about. They're just copying everything else. I'm kind of bummed about that, honestly. Like we saw that in the 8T. 8T was the first one to have it top left, rather than in the middle. OnePlus always has, for the longest time, had a strip of cameras down the middle. Kind of sad to see that go, actually.
Yeah, it is. Uh, it it probably will be for the best though, because it's definitely more out of the way. And if they want to add larger cameras, they can do as they please now.
Yeah, and
Oh
also,
yeah, actually, sorry, you were saying about it looks like a Samsung phone. I just realized how similar it looks to the S20 FE or just S20.
oh right, even the color as
Yeah,
well. Yeah, we're probably looking at the same thing. Yeah, and it also still has the hole punch in the top left. I don't mind the hole punch. I'm saying as if it's like a really bad thing, but I want to see a couple of phones try and at least take a risk or something. Just make it as like maybe do a pop up again. OnePlus that made you pretty unique. I promise it was fine with the 7 Pro. Why did they take it away?
I, I don't think OnePlus had an IP rating, even though it was water resistant.
Yeah, in the OnePlus 7 Pro.
Then maybe it's just the tech's too expensive, or I'm not too sure, but maybe they're just maturing as a company and they're just trying to
Or
get.
maybe they're trying to look like other flagships, look like other Android flagships,
Some
which is
people don't want those
annoying.
gimmicks.
Oh yeah, and this is also going to be. Is this the first or second phone OnePlus is putting out without CarPlay as one of the.
This is the first. Well,
Was 8T. Did they
second.
put out 8T with Carl?
No, without.
Okay.
Because after the Nord, he
Nord
left.
was the last one. Oh, he had. Did he
Yes.
have plans to do it before Nord? Like, he was like, we're going to work on this
I don't
project.
think
And
so.
then.
The Nord was his project, wasn't it?
He looked pretty. He looked like the face of it, pretty much. Like,
So I
he
think it
was getting all
was.
the interviews and stuff.
Yeah. So I think it definitely was the Nord that was his last project. So the 8T was without him.
Yeah, but what are we looking at for price for the 9 Pro? We haven't actually got any leaks for this one. We're just gonna estimate. We're gonna say it now, and then when the phone does come out, we'll compare and see what actually happened. I'll put my guess forward first. I'll say OnePlus 9 Pro is annoyingly gonna step up again from the 8 Pro and it's gonna be $1,000, I think.
Oh wow. So it was 899 before that, or
No,
799.
899.
Okay, so no, I don't think they will. I think they got so much praise for being like not $1,000. I don't think they'll want to change that. And also, actually, you know what? With their cameras, you might be
Yeah, see,
right,
that's the thing, because, like,
which is a bit of a
yeah, like,
shame.
first of all, yeah, they're going to put crazy hardware inside, but also, I feel like this was OnePlus's plan to, like, their creep up in prices. They wanted to get it as annoying as it is. I think they wanted to just get it as close as possible to 1,000, so that next year, the price increase is so incremental that nobody even notices it. That there's so many nines in the prices anyway last year, so 899, that this time 999. They look really similar number wise. I think that's the annoying truth. That might be. I don't know.
Yeah, I think let's hope not.
Yeah, I've really.
With the 8, with the 9, so the 8 released at £600. I'd say it's probably gonna be, if we're going with, they're gonna have the best flagship cameras this time. Like they did have flagship cameras before that, but they weren't up to scratch. So I think with the 9, with the cameras they're gonna have, I'm unfortunately gonna have to say the same thing and say it's £100 more expensive. So like £700 for base flagship.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about the 8 at all. We haven't got any design leaks for that. We've only got 9 Pro. Because last year, 9 Pro and. I mean, 8 Pro and 8 did come out at the same time, but maybe that'll happen
Yeah.
again. Or maybe it's just the master plan towards the 9T. That could be another interesting phone, but that's for another episode. I think if that's all we had to say about OnePlus 9 Pro. Oh, I have one more thing for both these phones, for both OnePlus and Samsung, and that is curved displays. You hate them.
Oh no.
I've never used a phone with one. I really don't want to see it again because everyone kind of is seeming to be fed up with
Are
it.
they? Do you know if they're gonna be on the 9?
It looks like it in the renders, annoyingly.
See, that was the only put off with the 8 for me. So that's just a bit of a shame because to be honest, I just don't like the thin feeling in my hand because obviously you hold it from the side. You hold it from the side, and then like it's still a weighty phone at top and bottom, but then it's thin around the edges. I'm not sure. I don't like it too much. Like on the S10, I held the S10 without a case or anything, and it was, yeah, I just didn't seem to like it very much.
Was it really a deal breaker to you though?
To be honest, yeah. I mean, it is a bit stupid, but like if a phone was really good, that like it was such a good deal that it that like you couldn't not buy it, then obviously it wouldn't be that much of a deal breaker. But if I was deciding between two phones with one slightly less specced out, then I'll go for the one that's slightly less specced out if it doesn't have a curved display.
Yeah, but don't you think like with a case you could just get rid of that really easily?
But then,
Like you use a case anyway.
but then it's kind of
Oh right, you miss out a bit of the display.
yeah. So that's the thing. And then we know someone who has a Xiaomi with a curved display. And he always complains he likes to play Brawl Stars, thing is, by Supercell. And
Mm-hmm.
he says that,
Great game, by the way.
yeah, I don't actually,
Played
I've
that for
never
a
actually
while.
played it, but he says that when you press start or something like that at the bottom of the screen, it's really annoying because it goes to the edge. So he has to like kind of go down. It's a bit weird. Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
sure how I like it.
fair enough. But I think if that's about it for OnePlus and Samsung's new flagships. Another quick story I want to talk about before we take a break is it's really short. It's kind of weird in a way. It's that so the headline, another headline for you guys, it's from a Verge article. I'll link this one in the description as well. So the headline is the PS5 and Xbox Series X are so big that IKEA has mock consoles in store to help you buy a media cabinet. I want like again immediate impressions. What does that is that normal? Should I keep doing this? Is it safe to assume people are going to be having these consoles in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think it is safe to assume that, and it's normal, because if you look at IKEA, like they pretty much just everything they're selling, they make a room, and they put all of that in there so you can see like how it all fits together, because it's hard even if you haven't bought the Xbox, you kind of still want to know if I buy this cabinet, do I have space to put the TV, to put a skybox, to put my Wi-Fi router maybe, to put my console, and then the remotes and all of that. So I think it is quite a good idea actually, especially since it will probably cost a lot for them. Just if someone were to buy the cabinet, then when the PS5
It
comes in
doesn't fit.
stock, buy the PS5 and it doesn't fit, so they have to return the cabinet. Probably costs them a bit to, repackage all of that, or even throw it away.
I'm just curious. What do you have a PS4?
Yeah.
Where do you keep that like in terms of on your TV cabinet? I guess.
I kind of just keep it next to the TV, so we have a pretty large TV that's like 6 or 7 years old now. Um, and so like it has really big bezels, but like the PS4 was just about able to slide to the right of it. But then I usually play on LG Smart TV upstairs as well sometimes. So then I basically the PS4 roams free around the house with a HDMI cable attached to it.
Okay. Cool. But so let's say if you had a PS5, I guess, would you be keeping it sideways or portrait, like have it tall or just lie flat like your PS4?
Oh, I'd have it tall because I think that fits a lot better than lying it flat. I know you can lie the PS4 vertically, just doesn't look good.
I think it looks alright. It comes with a stand which lets you
No,
like
sorry, the PS4. I'm
have it
saying
not
the
rock.
PS4.
Oh, the PS4. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. Okay. So I just want to like the interesting thing is they like showed a couple of dimensions. If you're planning on buying an Xbox Series X or PS5, the Xbox Series X is 151 millimeters. That's the what do you call it? Where's my math skills? That's the face. One of the sides of the of the square on the top of the cuboid. Hopefully that makes sense. And then the height of it, so we're talking about vertical. If you put it vertically, it's 151 across and 301 millimeters tall. And then the PS5 is, if I can read that right, that's 388 millimeters tall, and I can't read the across dimension. It's like 180. Not sure. But they look... The Xbox Series X, the dummy model, literally just looks like a straight up box, and the PS5 just looks like a black racetrack with two white plates on either side. Anyways, that was a quick short story I thought was pretty interesting. But if that's about it for the Android flagships of 2021, the IKEA PS5 and Xbox Series X, we can take a break here and we'll talk to you guys more about Trump getting banned from Twitter and other social media, and we'll be dreaming up the perfect Android flagship, budget phone, and mid-range phone.
Right, welcome back, and I think we're just going to get straight into it, with Twitter permanently suspending Trump's account, and it's not just Twitter, it's actually just a whole array of companies. So I've got it here. We've got Facebook, and Facebook owns Instagram as well, so Facebook and Instagram has banned Trump. We've got r/Trump is now banned on Reddit, and also Discord banned a server for Trump supporters, or a discussion around Trump, I think. According to Ali, I think that is. Is that right?
Yeah, there was a Discord, but also, I don't want to like change the subject or anything, but there was like these people saying that Discord is about to end by the end of 2021. Definitely not happening. Not on my watch. But yeah,
Yeah, it's probably booming now, isn't it? With so many people at home.
Definitely.
Okay, so actually onto the story. For this, I mean, BBC News is probably the best unbiased source you can get. So we're just using BBC News. We'll probably link it down in the description. So basically, so it all started a couple of days ago, actually, where or 2 days ago, where Trump was locked out of his account for 12 hours. On what's it now? It's Saturday, so it was on Wednesday when it happened. I have Wednesday. Can't be asked to do maths. Okay. So it was Wednesday when it happened. Because he called the people who stormed the U.S. Capitol patriots. We're not going to get into politics, like we might have done last, we might have done last podcast. So we're just going to get into, do you think Trump should be banned permanently because he kind of incited this violence and encouraged violence in the U.S. Capitol? Just keep in mind that this is actually his... So a lot of people were saying this is censorship, but actually the president can still reach the people through Twitter. So he still has his POTUS account, which will be handed to Biden with no followers on the 20th. But for now, he cannot use his personal account forever until they unsuspend it.
I don't have that much of a say in this. I don't know too much about it, but I do. I mean, I don't really follow him on Twitter or any of those like social media, but I guess with what he did, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of the only reason I go on Twitter is basically for this kind of topic. So
Nice.
So I kind of enjoy doing this kind of stuff. But yeah, so a lot of people were very annoyed about it. But I think that it is right in in order to keep the peace, because Twitter has to deal with so many different accounts, bots. They have to deal with all of these racists, and a lot of Nazis apparently. So
Yeah.
it, and apparently they were actually showing a lot more lenience towards Trump, because he is, if you look at his Twitter, which I don't know if you can anymore, you can just see blue across his whole every single tweet, just because they fact check him, and because spreading that kind of misinformation, they're actually meant to suspend him right away. But because he's Donald Trump, he's one of the most followed accounts on Twitter. It's definitely hard to not
Yeah, and
not
also
suspend him.
something funny, like this happened earlier on when we were recording, but the funny thing is, John Morrison from TLD just literally recently tweeted, it was something like, so look at those OLED blacks on, it would make a great wallpaper on Trump's Twitter account. So, I mean, it's as quiet as it gets.
Yeah, I also there have been so many new trolls just because of this one event. So actually, I am now following an account. Can't remember what the name is, but basically, years ago, Trump tried to big himself up by calling a journalist and pretending to be some guy called like John Barron or something. So now someone
Mm-hmm.
created a profile called John Barron, put Trump, and then photoshopped a moustache on him, and now is pretending to be Trump. It's it's really funny, and so
Wow.
many people. Yeah, it's called John Barron, and he's gained 400,000 followers, and he joined this like month, and I think his first tweet was 18 hours ago. So yeah, I think that's
Right?
kind of cool. I mean, so many trolls, but also Twitter's probably quite a bad place. Just not just because of Trump, but just because of how many people on the radical right or radical left on this platform, and that's kind of it for that. I just wanted to. Obviously, this is quite big tech news. This is the leader of one of the most powerful countries in the world getting his Twitter account banned.
Former leader.
Well, maybe no, I don't think when this will be out, but nearly former leader. So that a good thing or a bad thing, you guys can decide. I guess.
Yeah, but if that's about it for that short little story, I guess we'll get right into our next and final topic, which is a little. We like to say we're original with this. We're gonna dream up the perfect flagship phone, the perfect budget phone, and the perfect mid-range Android phones. By the way, these are all Android phones because iPhones are, well, we'll just say they're special, not necessarily in a good way. But I guess I'll let you start off. We'll go through one by one every tech spec, everything that we're expecting from like the dream perfect flagship.
All right. So
And I guess we'll start with flagship and then move on to mid-range and then budget. So we'll go in order of price. Flagship, mid-range, budget.
all right. So do you want to go first or shall I?
I think you can go first. We'll start off with
Okay.
flagship
So
then.
flagship, I think, is probably the easiest. Um, Obviously with internal specs, we'd have to go for the Snapdragon 888, just because the Exynos, we haven't exactly heard that much about it, and well, at least I don't know that much about it.
Yeah, let's be completely honest. Dream flagship smartphone. We're gonna want the Snapdragon. We're not gonna want any risk of
Yeah.
overheating or anything. But quickly, are you on like calling it 888 or 888 or triple eight? I've seen so many different ways of saying it. I
I
call
just
it
call it 888.
888. That's just me.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So
But
you want the
carry on.
Snapdragon 888. You want 12 gigs of RAM. That's probably the standard with flagships. Well, maxed out flagships.
Maybe that's a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean you don't need that much, but it's a flagship. So I guess if we're talking base
Yeah,
model
fair enough.
flagship, or are we talking S20 Ultra?
I would say a good middle. Oh right, we didn't clarify
Yeah.
that at all, did we? We're not. This isn't going well. Wait. Let's say we're gonna talk about not ultra. So we're gonna say on par with OnePlus 9 Pro or like Galaxy S21 Plus
Okay.
and like iPhone 12 Pro, stuff like that. Not the crazy high end phones.
Okay. So
So yeah, you're probably gonna want
8 gigs
like
of RAM.
a middle ground of. I would have said 10.
I don't. Can you get 10?
I think a OnePlus phone recently had it. Like OnePlus 6 came in a 10 gig variant.
No way. OnePlus 6.
Well, like technically you can't get 12 gigs of RAM either. Because you can't have. I don't get the whole phone thing, the whole phone RAM situation. Because, like, as far as I know, with PCs, with my PC build, you have either you go two 2 gig slots, two gig RAM sticks, or two 4 gigs, or two 8 gigs, or two 16 gigs. Those are like kind of the standard. So I have never seen really like two 5 gigs for 10 gigs of RAM. But I've definitely seen it in the past.
I think I'll just stick with 8 because I'm not sure on the 10 gig of RAM thing because I haven't seen it in any phone. But I have 8 on my OnePlus Nord, so I guess we'll go with that. What else would obviously 256 gigabytes of storage? Again, I probably won't need it, but I have just I maxed out my Google Photos account. And my whole Google account, which has fixed 15 gigs of photos and storage and all of that. I maxed that
Yeah,
out a
but
year
storage, I
ago.
guess, is something that you can just choose.
Yeah, so 256 gigs. What else? We would need. I would definitely go for Pixel 5 cameras. Just because I think they're
Okay.
the.
Oh, so you're choosing like a specific phone's camera, so you're not going like megapixels or anything.
No, because I think
You're
like
not going
the
hardware.
software optimization and all of that. To be honest, I just want a blend of phones. That's the thing. That's the best. The best.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Yeah, so I'd go with like Pixel 5 software, and so the stock Android software with Pixel 5 camera with its software optimization, obviously. And what else is there really to talk about? I guess the screen will be Samsung's probably not S20 Ultra, S20 Plus or S20 screen. No, not curved. Sorry, S20 FE screen.
Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
I was,
No, actually, the S21 isn't covered, I don't
no, it
think.
is. It's just very slightly.
S21 screens. Okay. I bet it's not that big of a deal, come on.
Yeah, but if we're choosing, then I might as well go S20 FE.
But if you think about it, like, if it's completely flat, you're getting a little bit of bezel, maybe?
Yeah, I'd be fine with a little bit of bezel. Actually, with my OnePlus Nord, the bezels they're not even that thin compared to the S20 or S20 FE. But for some reason, like, I keep doing these accidental touches because with my Honor, the bezels were so big that I was able to, like, completely reach with basically my whole palm and still not accidentally touch anything. So that was it took a bit getting used to. But, I'm
Okay.
sure you'll experience it in the next 5 years when you finally upgrade. And I guess that's cameras. I said cameras. What else? I'll probably add not an ultra wide, a telephoto, just because I can, and that's about it for my flagship.
Oh, well, obviously ultra wide as well.
Pixel 5 has ultra wide.
Oh, right, okay.
And what else?
I would actually just go for the iPhone's camera. I mean, like the iPhone camera, because like in conjunction with the video.
Oh yeah, that's probably.
So obviously we're taking iPhone video. I think that's something we can agree on.
Uh-huh.
iPhone video is a must, and
I'm just thinking
I
Pixel 5
guess
because
pixel
it's...
photos.
Yeah, because it's just, you get a pro mode, you get all of that sort of stuff. There's a lot more options when it
Yeah,
comes
we'll
to
just blend the best things about the iPhone and Pixel's
it. Yeah.
camera.
And to be honest, I'll
Okay.
be fine with a plastic body, but since it is a flagship, like, on the Pixel 5 or the metal frame and then plastic back with the S20 FE.
It's a flagship. You can
Yeah,
go
let's just go
glass.
glass.
It's a flagship.
Metal frame and glass back. That's basically
Probably
it.
matte finish. Matte finish
Oh
on
yeah,
the back.
obviously a matte
That's
finish.
pretty sweet.
That S20 FE color. Yeah.
Okay.
Navy blue.
And how... We didn't talk anything about design and, like, the actual... Not hardware and specs, but, like, the physical thing.
Like I've already said, S20 FE. I think that's probably the best designed phone of 2020 for me. I just really like the design.
Okay. I think that there's a couple of more specs I think maybe we forgot that we just should clear up for 2021. Because if you think about it, some of these specs we need to see how it goes. We're kind of, in a way, we're not really dreaming it up. In a way, we're kind of predicting this. Because, for example, if I, for example, right now say I want 144 hertz refresh, and then we see that just crushes battery for no reason, and you can't tell the difference with 120 hertz, what's the point? But let's say for the sake of, we'll give it a huge battery. Let's say 6,000 milliamp hours.
To be honest, just because it will be a bit of a fat phone, I'll go like 4,900 or something like that, 4,800.
Okay.
Like, battery, on a normal school day without Corona and all of that, I get like 3 hours of screen on time. I do 3 hours of screen on time with my OnePlus Nord. So I have more than enough battery to last like 2 days.
Alright, but this is a flagship. We need to like push the limits a little more. Okay.
Okay, if you can get me a thin body and
Yeah,
6,000,
that's
then
what
I'll
we'll
be
do.
fine. But
we can also get like, I mean, let's go all out. Let's go 65 watt. No. 65 watts. We just saw the Xiaomi Mi 10 Ultra. That had like what did it have? Oh, you're so annoying. What did it have? That had 120 watt fast charging, and it charged it. It went from 0 to 100 in like half an hour. Are you kidding me? How am I gonna? Yeah, 120 watt fast charging.
oh wow,
Who cares about heat? This is the dream phone. And we'll go like 45 watt wireless charging. Heat is not an issue with this phone. Let's not worry about that. It's a flagship. It'll be perfect. But I guess design, that's just colors and all that. I would personally go for like a matte black or a matte red. That's my preference. And you would probably, with this phone, we kind of went a little overboard, so I would say price will go
1,000.
1150.
Sorry.
1150.
Oh wow. Okay. I said 1,000.
I think we pushed the specs a little bit more
Yeah.
than we should have, because yeah, I guess 1,100, maybe 1,000. We've seen what OnePlus did. That was pretty great. But yeah, it's just super high-end specs, super incredible design, but it's just not that much different from last year. It's just updated chip, just maybe pretty much the same RAM. We don't need that much more RAM.
It's mostly just the camera.
The
and
more
software.
interesting story... Yeah, and the more interesting story also comes with the refresh rate. Are we gonna want 144 hertz in this phone?
I don't think it just racks up the price, doesn't it? For not much reason.
Okay, and I guess also, what about what kind of biometric unlock method are we gonna want? So, I think I would go for under display fingerprint reader.
You know what? I would actually go
That's
for.
my preference.
Like on the Pixel 5, Or is it on the Pixel 5? No, it isn't. I'm not too sure. But
Mm,
on the...
they do have it, actually. They do.
Okay, so on the back...
Actually, I'll just look it up.
I think they do.
So, like, one of the rear
Yeah,
ones.
a rear-mounted fingerprint. That's one of the things I
Yeah,
kind
Pixel
of
5
miss
does.
from my old phone, but also it's not that bad because I have a under-display fingerprint. But like, if I were able to choose, then I'd go rear-mounted.
I'll be honest, I kind of really like Face ID.
Yeah, and Face ID as
It's
well. Plus
pretty
Face
great.
ID, obviously.
Yeah, so Apple's Face ID will go
Whoa,
like
no,
one
no,
of the
no,
safe
no.
ones will go Samsung's ultrasonic
The thing is, with
fingerprint reader.
Apple's Face ID, you would have to have, unless the technology just kind of improves overnight, you kind of have to have a huge camera system. Like on that note.
Oh no! This is the Dream phone.
Okay.
Oh right, where are we gonna have the camera system? Is it gonna be under the screen? Are we gonna be?
I'd say just to be safe.
Are we gonna be that forward thinking?
Just to be safe, Samsung's design language again.
But this is 2021.
Yeah, but I don't think many people will be buying under display camera technology in 2021.
Yeah, I think we could. This is turned into quite a bit of a prediction phone, but we'll go through these a little bit quicker then, seeing as there's so much predicting to do. So next one is mid range in our price bracket thing. So mid range, I'll quickly go over the specs. So I think we could maybe sneak in the same 888 chip. We'll go. Okay, we'll refine it. So we're gonna say this is by the end of 2021. We're gonna go flagship gets the 888 plus, and then the mid ranger gets the standard 888. I think that's a good balance to have.
Okay.
And then
yeah, and then maybe probably you could sneak in 8 gigs of RAM as well. I mean, OnePlus Nord already has it. And basically, mid range is Pixel 5, isn't it? Or Pixel 4a 5P.
yeah, I would say Pixel 5, iPhone 12.
Yeah, so
OnePlus 8T.
I'm just gonna base this completely off Pixel 5, and then add up the specs. So you have
Alright.
Snapdragon 888 instead of the 765. You have the what else? I'd still go rear-mounted fingerprint sensor. The cameras are sick. What else? 8 gigs of RAM, which is already there, I think. To be honest, the Pixel 5 is quite nice, except for glass, metal frame, and glass. And that's kind of it, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe we could have a headphone jack.
Does the Pixel 5 not have a headphone jack?
I don't think it does, actually. Pixel 5, I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't.
But I guess, like, we're gonna thin out the bezels as much as possible. This, for the mid-range, will go a little safer, rather than the under-display not fingerprint reader, this is, what am I saying? Under-display cameras will go just a standard hole punch. That's the camera. And then you could probably have an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. Cameras, you could still have a great set of cameras. But can we just, rather than saying, I think we did this the wrong way around. Instead of saying what we want from a mid-range phone, let's just say what kind of things we should cut down from a flagship. I think that's how we should have done it. Let's restart.
Okay.
Yeah, let's restart this whole thing. So let's say if that was our flagship, let's pick like, I say we should pick like 3 things to cut down.
Okay. I guess we could probably get the Snapdragon 775 instead. It's probably not going to make, or 778 or whatever they're going to.
I don't think that's the move.
I don't think
that's the move.
No, because if someone's trying to buy a mid-range, they're not going for that huge, powerful spec, are they? That flagship would give you, I think.
Yeah, but when you can put it into the phone.
But then if you have to cut down something, what will you cut down? The RAM or something?
I would say actually we need to, 3 is a little too little. I think we need to cut down, let's say 5 things. I would say cut down the IP certification.
But
Let's
still
say
keep all
no
3.
telephoto. Yeah. Put the seals in, just don't get the
Yeah.
certification. Don't pay the extra money. No certification. Let's say, this is my opinion, you can change it if you want. I would say ditch the
Completely
telephoto.
fine.
And then I would go like something like maybe ditch wireless charging, but I use wireless charging. I wouldn't do that. You might do that.
Yeah, I probably would. And then maybe instead of 120
Okay.
hertz, go 90 hertz,
Yeah, I think that's a good
because
move.
you don't notice that
120
much of a
hertz.
difference.
Or we could go S20 FE and just go 120 hertz, but then just make it a plastic back.
Yeah.
Maybe, I think that added up to 5 cutbacks. I think.
Maybe.
Well, even if it didn't, I think that's a killer
I think
phone.
S20
Just keep the
FE.
same chip, same RAM.
Yeah, S20 FE, Google
Same
Pixel
refresh.
5, OnePlus 8T, all of these phones, they're really Pixel 4a 5G. They're really good models for upper mid-range / mid-range phones. So I think it's more, because the market's so mature already, it's more just adding on the 2020 specs, but keeping the whole model the same.
Yeah. Okay, so then we're looking at, we'll say the maximum budget for this next this budget phone is gonna be, we'll say 350. So that's our maximum, and maybe we can maybe talk about like 400 if you count. It depends how much of a baller you are, we'll say, but we'll cut a few things down. We'll do it the same style as the mid-ranger compared to the flagship. We're gonna cut a few things down from the mid-ranger. So just imagine the mid-ranger. What are we going to cut down to get it down under 350?
Okay, so we said Snapdragon 888 again for the mid-ranger. I think it's definitely time to go a step down.
Definitely.
So, the thing is, I'm thinking about all of these Chinese companies, and there's probably we're basing these prices of what the retail price is, but it's actually a lot cheaper to produce a phone. It's more about where it's produced, the ethics, the advertisement. So I think let's not go like Poco X3 NFC, which is basically a flagship in most of its specs. Let's go down a lot of notches. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, there's not that many I can name off the top of my head under 350. I would have thought, you persuaded me to go like under 350. I would have thought like the max would be like 400. So that's your OnePlus Nords, your Pixel 4As, and your iPhone SEs. But this year, let's go under 350. Let's go. The things I'm going to cut back. First of all, definitely get rid of wireless charging this time.
Yeah. Plastic back, most definitely.
Yeah, that was in the mid-ranger. And we're gonna get a headphone jack.
Yeah.
Because that's the world we live in. Budget phones have a headphone jack. Flagships don't.
We don't need dual speakers.
I guess you could.
Fine, let's keep dual speakers, but let's say,
have like a mono speaker at the bottom and then pair that with an earpiece. That would be, I think that's the move.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So an earpiece at the top that doesn't make a sound when you're actually listening to music and stuff like that. But then when you're on the call, then the earpiece is there. That's what I mean. So you don't need dual speakers. And then, what else? Do we cut 90 hertz?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no. Not 90 hertz. We cut 120 hertz because 120 hertz was in the mid-range. Let's cut that to 90 hertz.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to keep the hole punch. We're not making it a notch. I don't care. No notches in 2021. Apple. And then I think, what else is there to cut though? We've cut a lot of things. I guess the display resolution. Well, okay, we didn't talk about display resolution. Yeah, 1080p for this one, but flagship would have been, I guess, 1440, and then the mid-range of 1080, and then this also 1080.
Yeah, but
And
I'd
then
say we don't need optical fingerprint. We can just go at the back because
yeah, definitely.
that keeps the price down a bit.
Yeah, that's the move.
What else? We don't need a telephoto. We probably do need an ultra wide though.
Yeah, just have a main and an ultra wide.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it.
And if you need, just take away the ultra wide.
Uh-huh.
And
The thing is, with the
yeah, just
prices of these
make the
phones,
phone smaller in general, and I think you're good. And also plastic unibody.
with the prices of these phones, it's also the work that gets put into the software, and also this definitely is not an accurate representation of how they keep the cost down of a phone. But I mean, we can't do much about that. So
Yeah, that was just our thoughts. That was our like perfect phones for those three, I guess, like categories. But there's obviously never going to be the perfect phone. We just went down the spec list. We went a couple of more objective things about these phones, things that aren't really up to your opinion, that you just kind of need to accept that your phone has or doesn't have. But I wanna end it off because we did a lot of talking about like looking into 2021 smartphones. By the way, this is the first podcast of 2021. Did I mention? We took a deep dive into 2021's phones. There's one more question before we end this, and that is this the year where the port dies?
no,
Actually, there's two questions. First of all, is this the year where the port dies? And second of all, is this the year where the charger in the box is gone from every phone? Apple's already done that. Apple's way ahead of the game in that space.
I would say that no for both of them. So the ports definitely not. Maybe for the iPhone, but for the iPhone it's kind of 50-50. But
Yeah,
with
I kind of think it would be for the iPhone. Like how hard they're leaning into the whole MagSafe thing.
yeah, I
I just don't
guess.
want to see it go. Tech is moving too quick.
But
No.
also, it's with charger in the box situation. If you remember, with the headphone jack, Samsung waited until the S20 to take it out,
Yeah.
or the Note 10 to take it out actually. So they waited quite a long time, like a year or two. So I would say definitely this isn't the time for the charger not coming in the box. With some Xiaomi phones, apparently it's not coming. So yeah, that's
So you think this is going to be like the iPhone 7 years? So this is going to be like the year where everyone's just in shock that Apple took it away and just
yeah. And
this
then
is the year
companies are
where
going to
we'll
see
let
benefit.
this is the year this is my prediction. This is the year where phone companies are going to mock Apple in their adverts about Apple taking it away. Like OnePlus is going to say satisfyingly a charger in the box. And then, sure enough, next year, bye-bye charger in the box. Eventually down the road, no more port. I think iPhone 13, I think that's next for no port. But that's pretty much it for this episode of the Compression Podcast. Quite a long one, actually. We talked about a lot of stuff. But hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Right.